Hey, welcome back. My name is Sushant Sutish, and I am your trainer for this Azure Administrator Associate AZ-104 certification exam course. We are at Module 4. We are talking about virtual networking. And in this lesson, we're going to learn about Azure Firewall. So we will start with Azure Firewall. Then we will learn about how can you implement Azure Firewalls and what are the rules you can implement within Azure Firewalls. Without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Azure Firewall is a managed cloud-based network security service that protects your Azure virtual network resources. It's a fully stateful firewall as a service with built-in high availability and unrestricted cloud scalability. You can centrally create, enforce, and log application and network connectivity policies across subscription and virtual networks. Azure Firewall uses static public IP address for your virtual network resources, allowing outside firewalls to identify traffic originating from your virtual network. The service is fully integrated with Azure Monitor for logging and analytics. Some of the features of Azure Firewalls are built-in high availability. So high availability is built in, so no additional load balancers are required and there is nothing you need to configure. It comes with availability zones as well. So the firewall can be configured during deployment to span multiple availability zones for increased availability. An Azure Firewall can scale up as much as you need to accommodate changing network traffic flows, so you don't need to budget for the peak traffic. What about application FQD and filtering rules? You can limit outbound traffic or SQL traffic to a specific list of fully qualified domains, including wildcards. Then it comes with threat intelligence as well. So threat intelligence based filtering can be enabled for your firewall to alert and deny traffic from two known malicious IP address and domains. The IP addresses and domains are sourced from the Microsoft Threat Intelligence feed. And you can associate multiple IP addresses up to 100 with your firewall. Let's learn about implementing Azure Firewall. So first, let's consider a simple example where we want to use Azure Firewall to protect our workload server by controlling the network traffic. So the first step is to create the network infrastructure. In this case, we have one virtual network with 3 subnets. The second step is deploy the firewall. So the firewall is associated with virtual network. In this case, it is a separate subnet with public and private IP address. The private IP address will be used in a new routing table. The third step is create a default route. Create a routing table to direct network workload traffic to the firewall. The route will be associated with the workload subnet. All traffic from the subnet will be routed to the firewall's private IP address. And finally, configure an application rule. In the production deployment, a hub and spoke model is recommended, where the firewall is in its own VNet and workload servers are in peered VNets in the same region with one or more subnets. Let's understand different types of firewall rules. There are 3 kinds of rules that you can configure in the Azure Firewall. Remember, by default, Azure Firewall blocks all traffic unless you enable it. The first one is NAT rules. You can configure Azure Firewall Destination Network Address Translation or DNAT to translate and filter inbound traffic to your subnet. Each rule in the NAT rule collection is used to translate your firewall public IP, and port to private IP and port. Scenarios where NAT rules might be helpful are publishing SSH, RDP, and non-HTTPS application to internet. A NAT rule that routes traffic must be accompanied by matching network rule to allow the traffic. The next rule we need to know about is called network rules. Any non-HTTPS traffic that will be allowed to flow through the firewall must have a network rule. For example, if resources in one subnet must communicate with the resources in another subnet, then you would configure a network rule from the source to the destination. And the third one is application rules. Application rules define fully qualified domain names that you can be accessed from subnet. For example, specify the Windows Update network traffic through the firewall. One more concept you can think about is called rule processing. When a packet is being inspected to determine if it is allowed or not, the rules are processed in this order. The first rule is network rule and then application rules. The rules are terminating once a positive match is found, allowing the traffic through. No more rules are checked. So now that we have learned about Azure Firewall, in the next video, we're going to learn about Azure DNS. So I will see you on the next one. Till then, take care.